Gary had always been an overthinker. He would constantly worry about things that hadn't even happened yet, causing him to become anxious and oftentimes paralyzed by his own fears. But one day, Gary's anxieties reached a peak. He couldn't shake the feeling that everything he did was meaningless, and that he was just going through the motions of life without any real purpose. He began to isolate himself from the world, retreating to his apartment where he would spend hours upon hours thinking and thinking. He stopped going to work, stopped answering his phone, and stopped seeing his friends. He was alone with his thoughts, which only spiraled him further into his depression. Gary started to believe that he needed to know everything, that he had to have all the answers to live a meaningful life. He would spend hours on the internet, reading every article and watching every video he could find about everything and anything, hoping to find some sort of answer to some sort of question. But the more he searched, the more confused he became inside internet's rabbit holes, the more hopeless he felt. One day, as he was scrolling through his social media feeds, he came across a post that caught his attention. It was a call for volunteers at a local community center that took care of abandoned children. Gary felt a pang of guilt in his heart, as he remembered how he had always been too busy for such things in the past. He was surprised he could feel guilt. It was refreshing, so he pursued this feeling. Why did he felt like he needs to help since it's all meaningless? But this time, he felt something different. He decided to give it a shot and went to the community center to volunteer. At first, Gary was apprehensive and unsure of himself. He didn't know how to interact with the children, and he felt like he was always doing something wrong. But as the days went on, he started to build relationships with the children, and they started to look up to him as a role model. Gary started to feel a sense of purpose that he had never felt before. He realized that he didn't need to know everything, and that it was okay to have unknowns in his life. He started to find joy in the small things, like teaching a child how to ride a bike or reading them a bedtime story. Through volunteering, Gary discovered that helping others was the true meaning of life for him. True or not, that was the meaning that meant for him. He had found his purpose in life, and it was all thanks to taking a chance and stepping outside of his comfort zone. As Gary looked back on his journey, he couldn't help but chuckle at how he had been so consumed by his own anxieties and fears, self-absorbed in his small shell. He realized that life was full of unknowns, but that was what made it beautiful. In the end, Gary learned that life wasn't about having all the answers, but rather, it was about finding joy in the journey and helping others along the way. And with that, he lived his life with a renewed sense of purpose and meaning. As Gary shared his story with others, he encouraged them to take chances and step outside of their comfort zones, for it was in those moments that they might find the answer to the questions they had been asking all along. And so, if you're feeling lost and adrift like Gary once did, remember, you don't need to know everything. Sometimes it's okay to embrace the unknown and see where life takes you. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories.